What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Off the Top. We are doing review and reaction to Elimination Chamber. I am with, as always, Scals, Nate, and Cam. How you guys doing tonight?
What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Doing good.
How you guys feeling after last night?
Oh,
Phenomenal,
man.
bro. That
What
was
a
a great
show.
show. That was a great show.
That was a phenomenal show.
From top to bottom, it was. I thought it was great storytelling all across that board. Like there was no really down peaks. There was stories developing.
I think there was one, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I understand the one down peak, but
And that was the only one I didn't watch, so it worked perfect for me.
I think everything carried out fairly well, though, is my objective. Like I said on a tweet, I gave it an 8 out of 10 for the show, and I'll explain that as we finish the show. But that's what my rating was, so that was solid. So how about we get into the matches and talk about the mix-ups that happened?
All right, so we want to go in the order of how the matches played out on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so let's start off with the Women's Elimination Chamber. Who wants to start off?
I will.
Okay.
I thought the match started at a slow pace for my liking, personally. But as it went on and more women got involved, it made a lot more sense. The eventual winner, it made a lot of sense. I think we all pretty much figured that out way beforehand anyhow. There were some great spots. Liv Morgan off the pod. I mean, they're very limited to what they can even do in that ring, that chamber around them. So kudos to them. They going through chamber walls and hitting off the fence and the outside and everything like that. It was just good all around. I didn't really like the fact that Liv. At first I did, and then I had a conversation with Nate last night. Liv passing out to an armbar made no sense, as Nate pointed out to me. That was kind of a low light of that match because she was built strong in the Rumble. I'll just have it kind of torn down in the Elimination Chamber. Made no sense. But I guess you have to make Asuka look the strongest in that situation. So having Liv go farther into that match probably wouldn't have had the same reaction to Asuka winning.
Right.
My rebuttal to that, Shadow, is she was also in another submission with Natalya. So it wasn't just the armbar.
Right, but look, so that's a submission that's not affecting her respiratory system whatsoever should not make her pass out unless she's bleeding like Bret Hart or Stone Cold being in the sharpshooter from Bret Hart. Unless she's losing a lot of blood or her respiratory system is being compromised, there's no reason that she should have passed out whatsoever.
Where was Asuka's knee, though? Was it on the back of her head, like the back area behind her head? Or was it on the mat? Because the way it looked like...
I think it was on the mat.
Okay, because it looked like it could be back there. I'd have to watch that again just to see, but I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Overall, though, I think the match was pretty good. Again, they're limited to what they can do inside the chamber, especially in recent years when they've, vanillaed it out a little bit. Liv Morgan looked like a star. She absolutely killed it until her ridiculous elimination.
Yeah.
Asuka winning was the only call that honestly made perfect sense, especially with the way that she came back at the Royal Rumble. She's over. People love her. And honestly, I think she should cement herself as a heel going forward and put Bianca back in chase mode. Good match overall. Just a couple of weird spots. I'd say it probably like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I have to agree with that rating for sure. What were your thoughts on this, Kim?
So I think I agree with what Shadow said. I think the match started off kind of slow, downright, uninteresting, kind of boring in the beginning of it. That is until my girl Nikki Cross entered the match, and I think she carried that match, and she definitely changed the pacing of the match. So she killed it, and like I said again, I'm glad that they have reverted her back to the Nikki Cross that we all know and love versus that ridiculous superhero gimmick she had before.
To cut you off there for a second, I don't see the place of Nikki Cross belonging in that match.
Yeah, maybe so. But I mean, I like I just like the direction she's going right now. It doesn't have a rhyme or reason with it, and I just think that just plays into her gimmick. It's not supposed to. So I can understand that. I can understand how she's kind of like a wild card, or she doesn't really need to be placed in this match. But she definitely changed the just the pacing of the match. It made it more exciting. Liv Morgan, I think, killed it. It was kind of funny because she was like the moves that she was selling was kind of goofy or whatever. Like I thought she put on her best performance just selling alone. I do agree with you guys too. Like the ending was for her elimination. I think was very reminiscent of what happened when she lost the title to Ronda Rousey. So I don't know. I don't understand why it's almost lazy booking because it's like they just literally cut, copy, paste, and it's like, yeah, let's go ahead and have Liv get eliminated just like that. That's perfect.
And it doesn't. There's no follow up to it. That's the
Right.
No.
problem with it.
I mean, another person going off like me saying that Nikki doesn't deserve to be in that ring for that match. Not saying she doesn't deserve to be involved in the picture at all, but in that match, another person that made no sense to me, and I'm going to fight to the nail about this. Natalya had no business. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Oh, she's a Canadian. Okay, cool. Nobody gives a shit about her anymore.
That was it. That was the only reason why she was.
That was absolutely the only reason she was there.
100%. And in commentary talking, maybe she'll correct the wrongs of the past. No, it was garbage having her in there. It was a cheap pop to get a Canadian person in there.
The only thing I think is happening, I think she's actually going to be winding down her career pretty soon here.
I can only hope.
That she just wants a couple of things out of the way. Like, being in the Elimination Chamber in front of her home crowd, I do think that's something that she has earned.
Well, home country, but yeah.
Yeah, home country. I do think that's something that she has earned with as long as she's been with the company and as hard as she has worked. But this time around, it didn't make sense story-wise. If they had made it make sense story-wise, I would have been okay with it, but they didn't.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. No, some of the spots that I like in this match too was the spot that they had when Raquel took Nikki and drove her through one of the pods. I thought that was sick.
Mm-hmm.
They had what was another one? I mean, Carmella when she came in, she had her entrance come in. She tried to pin everybody that was already down or whatever. I thought that was genius.
I love that gimmick.
So it was very ultimate opportunist of her. So that added into the match as well.
She's also criminally underrated, and I'm gonna die on that hill because a lot of people disagree with me.
For sure, and I'm glad that
Carmella definitely is underrated.
And she's another one that I'm glad that she's back to her, Mella is money gimmick versus that whole whatever they were trying to do with her before, because that just wasn't working.
Queen of Staten Island.
Yeah, right. And
Staten Island's a place.
Jesus Christ.
Read between the lines, Shadow. Read between the lines.
They had a 6 spot with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan did a sunset flip off the top of the pod. That was pretty dope. And then, of course, towards the end, you get to the final 2 between Asuka and Liv. They basically were just bullying Raquel, and then they had like a double pin. I thought that was sick. I don't think I've ever seen an elimination like that in a chamber match.
Or Asuka and Mella.
Yeah, it was Asuka and Mella.
Yeah.
I know what you meant.
And so, it was pretty sick though. So I thought this match was great. I think Nate, I think you rated it out of 10. I just rated it out of 5. That's what we normally do anyways, but I gave it a 4.2 out of 5. I thought it was a great match.
Hey, we can go out of 5. I don't care. That's fine.
So, this match to me, I think you mentioned it, Cam. You liked the spot where Raquel put Nikki through the pod. I think Nikki got hurt. I don't think she was supposed to be eliminated the way she was because we missed her elimination. It was while they were showing a replay.
Right.
So I think it was rushed. I think she got injured, and they weren't sure how serious it was. So they just...
Michael Cole even said 1-2 and a kick out, and then like as the replay went away and the small screen came back,
right.
They're like, wait, she got eliminated. I was like, what?
So I think something was changed there. I don't think she was supposed to be the first eliminated.
Right.
Or if she was, it just wasn't supposed to be at that point. So I think that changed a couple spots that there could have been with Nikki. I do like Nikki back as the sanity gimmick. It does make her character. She is better off with this, and I think she's just biding time until Eric Young comes back and then teams back up with him.
I think that's a stretch to get Eric Young back in WWE, but okay. Eric Young does his best work in TNA.
But he's not with TNA anymore. He was killed off on TNA, literally.
Vince McMahon was once killed off WWE television, but he's still there. So.
We don't talk about what happened the next day after that. It literally was the next day. We don't talk about that.
Continue your point, sir.
Liv got to showcase herself. I agree. The submission was not good. Raquel didn't get to really showcase herself as much as I thought she would have. So I don't know if they're really considering not pushing her in the title picture anymore.
I mean,
but
truth be told, I wouldn't. But that's just my opinion.
She had her chance. Time to move on. So I'm all right with that. Overall, I am so hyped to see Asuka versus Bianca. I really hope she ends Bianca Cena's run as champion.
I obviously I want to see Bianca's run end, but I didn't like Asuka going over necessarily in that match.
You are not.
I thought Liv did an amazing job at the Rumble to earn that spot back organically within the company, not just fans behind her. Oh, we want Liv. No. She organically worked her way back. And then to have Asuka just because of the way she performed.
It makes more sense for Liv to go against the SmackDown person. Whether it is Rhea or Charlotte, she has history with both of them. Charlotte was the one that put her out on injury the first time when she repackaged herself, and she was a tag with Rhea before Rhea turned on her to join Judgment Day. So there's already
for brutality or something like that.
So there's already built-in storylines with her for that title, and you don't have Asuka come back to lose.
Thanks.
Asuka needs to be built back up to the way she was when she first got here in NXT.
See, that's kind of the thing. It was almost too predictable too. Like when she won the Royal Rumble, no one. She was still on that undefeated streak. No one legitimately thought she was not going to win the Rumble. It's kind of like that too. It's like Asuka's the only one who realistically has a chance to win this match. And sometimes predictability is good. Sometimes it's bad. I think at this point, it's a little bit of both. Just because there's a lot of women who haven't really had the opportunity to shine, Asuka has. So I can see both sides of the coin. However, Asuka does need that reboot to, build up that credibility that she lost. So I can see how both sides of the coin could operate. You know what I mean?
Asuka got screwed by Vince.
Big time.
Oh, is that who we had to pay money to?
What?
Nothing.
I just realized what you said. She never should have had her winning streak snapped that quickly coming up on the main roster. So it's time for that. Time for her to get her reboot. Time for her to get her real title run. Because the title run she got after the gift from Becky was tainted because no one wanted her to have that title. Like, the crowd reaction when she had that belt, there was nothing that came from it. Like, it was... And I know it was during the pandemic era. There really wasn't much to do. But she needs a real title run now. My overall rating for the... What were you saying?
She should be a heel.
I think this is what's gonna turn Bianca heel, though. That's the thing. Because Bianca needs to...
Don't hold your breath.
I know, but Bianca needs a new whole gimmick because the crowd is dead when she's there. The crowd is not into her. Like, they're tired of it.
We were barking up that tree with Cena for 10 years.
I know. The crowd wanted him to turn heel. WWE wouldn't let him. I think they realized that mistake, hopefully.
All
Yeah,
I'll say is I think Asuka's going to be the one to take down Bianca, but I don't think they're trying to Bianca heel. I just don't see them doing it.
Mm-mm.
Well, I could hope, can I?
Yes, you can, and you can have your hopes dashed too.
Well, as long as Bianca Cena loses, my hopes will be fine. My
Anyway.
overall rating for this match was a 4.
The match itself, across the board, like I said, I'm going with a 6. But if we're going on a 5 scale, I'm doing it a 4. Like, the match itself told a lot of stories within a story. So, I was okay with that.
Which I feel WWE has done a lot of recently. And it's what's made most of
Right.
their shows enjoyable.
Oh, for sure.
So, I guess that moves us into, I believe the next match was Brock and Bobby, wasn't it?
Yep. Oh,
This one,
I didn't watch this one, so I don't have a... I can't really speak.
you
on
didn't
it.
you didn't miss anything. Trust me.
no,
It's
not
hard-
no, you really didn't.
I got in my
It's
car,
started
I
off-
went into my friend's house to check on a dog, and I came back and the match was over, so I apparently didn't miss much. You're right.
There you go.
It started off promising. It was just meaty men slapping meat. You know what I mean? That's all you could expect out of them. No one was expecting a 5-star match out of these two. Just no one. The least we could have expected was a logical finish, a logical conclusion, something that says, "Hey, these two men are moving on to something else." Because that's what they
Right.
need to do. This rubber match should have been the end of that feud, but I sadly think that it's going to continue. I have
I
one
don't
of my
think-
biggest. Sorry, go ahead. I guess I'm.
I didn't mean to cut you off on that your point there. I don't think this continues as long as you think it is, but I feel in the next few weeks as we get another match that we probably don't need.
Well, I mean, Brock is not going to wrestle on Raw or SmackDown, so there's no more. That's out the window.
No.
But the one thing I have a problem with, Brock Lesnar was locked in the Hurt Lock, and decided to kick Bobby Lashley in the dick.
Yeah, that made no sense. That makes him look like a bitch and weak.
Now, see-
I don't get it.
Remember when he was in the Hell in a Cell match with Undertaker? What, 5-6 years ago, something like that? He passed out in the Hell's Gate and was flipping him off as he was passing out. Why couldn't he just pass out? That
I don't
would be
think he
the time
wants
to
to
make
put
someone pass
Bobby
out
over.
because he's got pressure on his neck and head. That one makes sense to pass out from. But like Bobby Lashley still wins the match either way. Brock looks weaker for throwing a low blow than he would for passing out and not tapping out. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And that is not a Brock move at all.
Listen, I never hide the fact that I'm a fan of Brock, and I was not a fan of that ending. Like to your point, passing out in Hell's Gate and giving Taker finger, that's a whole different respect,
Badass
right?
image.
But it's a whole different respect. And him not doing it for Bobby just says, I don't even want to be working with this guy. I don't even want to put him over.
Right.
When all we've heard in the last year and a half out of cheat sheets and dirt sheets and all these reports is Lesnar's helping people go over. I truly believe there's a true dislike between Bobby Lashley, the person, and Brock Lesnar, the person.
I agree, and I think Bobby Lashley is the guy who wants to stay professional about it. You never see Bobby Lashley cause problems. He's not a guy that makes a lot of noise. He's very
Absolutely not.
He's disciplined. He's a very disciplined man. I mean, I guess being in the Marines will do that to you. Yeah, this match was just in a night that was full of wonderful storytelling and great wrestling across the board. This match was a big fat sore thumb. I give it a 1 out of 5.
Cam, looks like you have some points to this you want to make.
I don't have a lot to add, but I definitely want to touch on what Nate said, and that's it's a key thing, and we expected a logical ending to this, and that's exactly what we did not get. So it's kind of like shame on us for expecting logic to be put in the booking to end this feud and to finally give these two guys something else to do.
Hold
So,
on 1 second, Kim. What else were we supposed to expect after what Bray Wyatt said on Friday?
I was
I'm gonna
expecting
get to that
Bobby
point.
Lashley to lose.
See, to Cam's point of logic, I didn't expect a logical ending, but I expected a definitive ending, and that is not what we got.
Right. And that's kind of what I mean. Like, it's just I didn't think we'd see, especially after their last match that they had. I didn't think we'd see anything similar to that. It just felt like this was going to be a definitive ending to this feud, and that's just not what we got. So
I
mean,
also go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, during the course of the match, we got a handful of suplexes. We saw 3 different spears. Like we didn't and that's not even shocking because I knew that was gonna happen. That's just what they do.
Corey Graves pointed that out on commentary. He's like, you're not gonna get a fancy match out of these guys. It's spears, F5s, and suplexes. That's all you're gonna get.
Right. Exactly.
Like the commentary didn't even hide that they didn't even want to be calling that match.
Right. Not at all.
And
to your point too, and you're a Brock guy, and to your point about the ending, when he's in the Hurt Lock and he low blows him, it's just like, why do we have someone like Brock Lesnar who's 200 and whatever pounds of pure muscle, and can literally destroy in an MMA match anybody on that roster? Why is he low blowing like Bobby Lashley to finish the match?
That's the point too. And Bobby Lashley is an MMA fighter. It makes no sense. These are 2 legitimate combat athletes. This match should have been 10 out of 10 banger from the beginning to end. And whether it's just duplexes and spears or not.
And I have another point to make too, real quick. Brock Lesnar, this is just my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but when Brock Lesnar is motivated and he's working with the right person, not many people are better than Brock. Like, legitimately. That's how I truly feel. When he is motivated and he likes the person he's working with, he creates fucking magic.
Look at his stories with Taker and Roman.
And Roman. And fucking, even Rey Mysterio. When Rey Mysterio fought him for the WWE Championship, that match only went like 10 minutes. But it was a fucking banger because he knew he likes Rey Mysterio. They have a good relationship. They work together well. It was
him and Eddie are a great example of when he's really motivated to do something.
I was gonna
AJ
say
Styles, Daniel Bryan, the list goes on.
I was
the
gonna
guys
say Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre. Yeah, there's that that when in the build up to their match at WrestleMania before the shutdown, there was this one segment where Drew and Brock were just beating the hell out of each other. He claymores him on the stage, and Brock, the mics picked him up. He says, "Do it again." To Drew McIntyre, he says, "Do it again."
And then he's
like, "Okay."
He said, "Pick up the." He said, "Pick up the belt." I also heard him say that. Pick up the belt and show it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you could see as soon as he said that, Drew McIntyre went and started looking for it. It was amazing. But when Brock is motivated, there's maybe 3 or 4 guys ever who are better. But that's the problem. When he's not motivated, it's a chore.
And then that goes back to my point of I don't think the respect is there between those 2 men to work on a professional level. And WWE is trying to feed on that. And I don't think there's an angle there anymore. I think they just need to forget about it and go away with it at this point.
Right.
And now to bring up the Bray Wyatt point, I don't think we're going to get, we're not going to get Lashley versus Bray. That's not going to happen. I think there's going to be something happening in the next 2 weeks, and I'm saying 2 weeks, where Bray says, I don't want Lashley. There's no story to tell there. He's not going to say that, obviously. But there's just no genuine reason to have Bray and Lashley go at it. It hurts both of them.
Right.
But Brock and Bray have a story to tell from years back that now needs to come to fruition.
If Brock goes on his normal scheduled vacation after WrestleMania, a loss does not hurt him.
No.
Whatsoever.
But with Bray and Lashley, it's not gonna. It doesn't do either man justice.
Right.
But I'll go with Nate. I'm gonna give it a 1. I'll give it a 1.5, just because I'm a Brock guy. I'll give it the 0.5 extra.
Biased.
You and your unbiased journalism.
Yeah, my bad. Don't tell Tony Khan. Anyways,
Shadow Meltzer over here.
If I was Meltzer, I would have given it a 5-star.
Except if it was in a Tokyo Dome and it's a 10.
Right. But no, this was a horrendous match, I think. So I'm not giving it any higher than what you guys give it, pretty much. So I give it a 1 out of 5.
And Scals didn't watch it, so it doesn't matter for his rating on this.
So,
but I do want to refer to the comments for Stack, if I can.
That's what I was just going to bring up, Shadow. So you can go ahead.
Again, there's potential Hurt Locker or Hurt Business coming back, and the Wyatt 6 is still to be determined. We still don't know if it's in his head or actual people.
We don't
still
even
all
know if
figuring that out.
it's going to even exist in WWE whatsoever.
Right.
We
Even
don't
though
know.
Wyndham has, with his side being in that pitch black match with the 6 on his head, that's just, we don't know where this is going. I don't want to see a Wyatt 6 versus the Hurt Business. That just, to me, it's not what we need to see. Bray needs to focus on single wrestling, telling his story until he's back at the peak.
I kind of like this idea that they're doing right now where he's just got Howdy just flanking him. I like that.
Right.
So,
And you can't tell me that Taylor isn't Howdy at this point. Like,
I got a good look at his chin, and I looked at old pictures of Bo Dallas when he had a beard. It does the same curls and shit. I firmly believe it's Bo Dallas.
I know.
So,
I know it's Bo Dallas, but did you guys see what I put in a Discord today?
that Jay White thing?
It could explain why he hasn't been seen backstage. He has to stay in the
What?
costume the entire time because he was still under contract.
That guy's
I
a little
think-
bit too good to be Jay White.
Mm-mm. If you look at the Discord, you'll see images of it.
I'll definitely have to look at that. But
I don't believe it is, but I'm just saying
no, I don't think.
the guy makes a
But-
good case for it to be.
Yeah, but Triple H isn't that big of a piece of shit. He's going to bring in another talent. But they were working together, New Japan and WWE, so who knows?
Maybe that's the trade-off for letting Shinsuke go over there. Even though that wasn't New Japan, but still.
I mean, Jay White is no longer employed by New Japan, and he can't wrestle over there anymore. So,
Allegedly.
no. He lost both matches.
Doesn't mean his
Yeah.
contract just goes.
It was already up anyway. That's why they did this.
All right. Anyways, next match of the night, please.
The next match we went into was the mixed tag match with the Grit Couple versus the Judgment Day.
Cam, you start this one off, or unless Nate wants to. He seems to. Neither? No?
Nate, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I was pleasantly surprised by this match, actually. I think the understated story of this match is just how much wicked chemistry Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley have. They tore it. They carried the match. They were in it for probably 3/4 of the ring time was Beth and Rhea.
That could have been a singles match, and it would have been just as great.
And hopefully, I hope we get that match one-on-one at SummerSlam, because that's going to be close to when Edge is supposedly retiring. Beth versus Rhea at SummerSlam, that's a money match. I would love that. They have clear chemistry. The story is there. They've just started their story, really. It's just been Edge in this Judgment Day storyline for goddamn ever. Hopefully,
And I think that's the end of that last night. I
hope it's done because Edge put them down. I kind of wanted the Judgment Day to get the win. I'm okay that they didn't because Rhea Ripley did not take the pin. Rhea Ripley did not need to take the pin heading into WrestleMania going against Bianca Belair because that would have made her look dumb.
Another reason to that, to why Edge and Beth won, is because they needed one of the Canadians on the card to go over in Canada.
Right. And I think Finn Balor will be okay. He's a guy that he's pretty much perpetually over. Like, even as a heel, people love Finn Balor. I don't think this loss really hurts him that much. A little bit, yeah. I think it's because they're probably building towards something for Edge at WrestleMania that's bigger than whatever's planned for Finn and the rest of the Judgment Day. And I'm okay with that. I am right now because Edge is at least not a shell of his former self. He can still go. If Edge was a shell of his former self, like Goldberg or an Undertaker, or guys like that who just shouldn't be in the ring anymore, then it'd be a different story. But Edge could still go, so I'm not upset about it. The match itself, I thought, blew my expectations out of the water just because of that crazy chemistry between the two women. I give this match a 4 for sure.
So, I'm going to touch base on a few things with this match. I love the double powerbomb by Rhea and Beth. I thought that was really cool how they did that.
Before you finish your point, I have to give a shout out to the wife. She sent me a text during that spot and goes, "The only time you'll ever see a man shake his head with a woman between his legs." So there's a little tidbit for the wife there.
Fair enough.
I was annoyed that Dominic got involved, even though I should have expected it. I didn't think he was going to get involved where he threw the brass knucks towards Rhea, who used it on Edge, and then it was and then it was the botch where there should have been a pin, but
yeah,
it wasn't. But it was okay. I mean, it wasn't. It was obvious, but it wasn't that obvious, you know.
Edge at least had the wherewithal to kick out, even if it was a little late.
Right.
But he did have the wherewithal to still kick out, so he didn't look completely stupid.
Right.
But that was a rough spot.
Definitely was.
I did like the glam slam on the outside. Rhea took it. Rhea took that one. Rhea is one of the best sellers on the female roster. Like, I don't think there's anybody that can compare to her right now.
And Kane, thank you for correcting me. I meant Charlotte Flair, not Rhea, or not Bianca. She's facing Charlotte Flair. That's my bad. That's in our comments.
Okay. In regards to what you said, where you think this is over, though, I don't. Because the way Finn was acting after the match, he kept saying, "Edge, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you." I think we're going to see Edge go to challenge and accept Austin Theory's Open Championship tomorrow night. And
Finn, he already did.
Yes, but I think Finn's going to attack him before he can actually accept it. Like, go out there. And then we're going to see somebody else do it. And then it's going to lead to...
Or Edge wins tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Hey, listen. Edge wins tomorrow. Him and Balor feud till Mania with that title. Because if you're building up, and we'll get to this, I'll let Scales finish his point, and then me and you will have a conversation about it. Continue. Sorry.
What I was gonna say is, I think Finn Balor stops him from cashing in, and then it leads to Edge and Finn in a Hell in a Cell at Mania. And that's how the feud pops off.
You was talking about how you said pops off as I did this.
So, okay. Well, is that your points now?
Yeah.
You have more to say?
Nope.
Okay. So, Cam, before I get into an argument with Nate here, go ahead and tell us your point.
I definitely like this match. I think it exceeded my expectations. To what Nate was saying, yeah, I definitely think Beth and Rhea had amazing chemistry. It really looked like, I mean, you could feel the despise they had for each other in their storyline coming off of the screen watching this match. There were some pretty stiff shots right there. I love the part where I think they're doing that spot where they're trying to like shoulder tackle each other. It's like a test of strength type of thing. And Beth literally looks at Rhea and goes, "Eat this, bitch."
Yep.
I thought that was fucking great. That was hilarious. So, yeah, it was amazing. Their chemistry, obviously, is what carried this match. For what Scal said as well, the mixed match Tower of Doom they had was great as well. Yeah, this match was definitely great. And I don't think it's over. I definitely don't think it's over. I definitely think we get Edge and Finn at Mania probably to end this finally, and then probably, who knows, probably Beth and Rhea at SummerSlam or something like that down the line. So, but yeah, it was a great match. I give this match a 3.9 out of 5.
Shadow,
pretty good.
one thing before you start. I did love the Shatter Machine. The little throwback
I
to.
forgot to mention that.
I was gonna mention it, and I lost my whole train of thought when Shadow interrupted me.
Yeah, Edge did a lot of rehab and training with FTR.
Right, and he did call them out when he first came back. He actually mentioned them on TV, which surprised a
Yep.
lot of people, and it was just a great little throwback to them. And then the way they've been interacting on Twitter after it, I I don't know. It's making me think that they actually are coming back.
It wouldn't be the
Yo,
question
when-
to have Edge form a stable with them.
Right.
Right, and
When
And
they
I
hit
pointed out,
when
I
they
think
hit the Shatter Machine, I freaked
It was
out, yo.
beautiful. They nailed it.
in the press conference, they said they've never done that before. That was a one-time
It
go.
was the first time they ever done it.
But before I get into my point that I'm going to make with Nate, that match to me, the selling was great. The story was great. The mask that Finn Balor came out wearing, shout out to Jason Baker for creating it. I love the storytelling. The storytelling between Beth and Rhea goes back to NXT when Beth was watching her in the Mae Young Classic and all that. And as she explained in the press conference, she has the utmost respect for Rhea in that regard. So I think that this is headed towards a match down the line, like Nate said, SummerSlam. So for me, that match, 4.5 out of 5. It told the story. The motion was there. The Montreal crowd saying "fuck you, Dom" was amazing. Which he doesn't get very often, right? Like he doesn't get that hate like he did in Montreal, which is a very
He's more
hot
over
crowd.
as a heel in Canada than he is in the States.
Right, and like I said, I think I might have mentioned it to Nate. I know I mentioned it to Scals last night. There was no piping necessary. That was all pure, actual crowd. Now, with Nate, I think tomorrow night on Raw, you see Edge beat Theory and when we get to the next match, I'll explain why on that part. We're going to see Edge beat Theory, and because Edge and Balor need somewhere, like they don't need it, but they could use the title and put the title of the U.S. back on Finn. And what better way to do it? You have a Mania match that you know is coming between Balor and Edge. Like it's just the story's not exactly done, but it's right there. So we have a Hell in a Cell at Mania, which I don't think has ever been done in the history. You have to build this match card for 2 days, right?
Triple
You
H,
have to.
Triple H and Undertaker.
Was that at Mania?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
27.
That was during that 3-year period where it was Triple H and HBK fighting
Right. Yeah. End of an era match. My apologies.
3 or 4. Yeah,
But-
something accounting.
3 years, 4 Manias.
Right. But to that point, you have Edge and Balor at Mania in front of a sold out field. I don't remember what the fucking stadium's called.
SoFi Stadium.
SoFi, thank you. And why not have it for the United States title? It elevates the title with a legitimate Hall of Fame guy and Finn Balor, who's arguably, if not one of the top 5 wrestlers on that roster right now. So to me, I see Edge walking out tomorrow night on Raw in Ottawa, Canada, our capital, and defeating, because the pop will be huge for Edge winning that belt in Canada. It's not you're not putting Edge into the storyline of, oh, I can beat Roman Reigns, I'm going to win that title. He's not going for that big title. A mid-card belt is perfect for Edge at his status in his career. That's my point.
First, real quick, I did love in the press conference the throwback to his feud with John Cena when he said Austin Theory grew up a Cena fan, so he has to be stupid. And I'm like, that's amazing. He's still keeping that alive. Yeah, I see your point. I do. And I see how it could be good. I do see how it could be good. However, I feel like it's a cop-out. I feel like it's a little bit of a cop-out to get the title off of Theory for him to face, presumably, John Cena.
That's where I was going with that.
When
Yeah.
I think the story that can be told here is he does these open challenges, keeps fluking out victories. John Cena comes back on an episode of Raw, wins it from him, and then Austin Theory challenges him back at WrestleMania, and takes it back.
Fair
Or
enough.
he just has an open challenge at WrestleMania and John Cena answers it. It
Yep.
could be that.
And
I think the open challenge thing is to mock John Cena. Because that's a lot of what he's been doing lately is that the champ is here and
Right.
So I think personally, in my opinion, that would be the better story to tell. Edge, yes, could be a great United States champion at this point in his career. He could help put over Finn Balor more, I guess, since the I Quit match really didn't do much, since it did more for Rhea than it did for Finn. But, yeah, I think it's, I could see them going that way. I hope they don't, personally.
Fair enough. And another point to your point of throwbacks. How about Edge's shirt last night? The Heart and Sex Castle shirt?
Yep.
Like, Sex and Heart Castle, man. Like, that's one of his very first gimmicks ever in wrestling, guys. Like, if you don't know that, now you know.
Right.
But, yeah, that, to me, that was a great... It was a nice pace of the match in that card. I think it was placed well within that card.
so since we already gave away the winner of the next match with the little tidbit from Nate and us talking about the open challenge tomorrow night, we're going to go into the men's elimination chamber. Cam, you want to start this one?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. Man, this match was phenomenal, bro. Like, I knew it was going to be great because like I said, I was hyped just from when they were announcing who was going to be in this chamber. And it did not fail to deliver. Honestly, I think this was, well, obviously this was my favorite match in the card, but I definitely think this was the match of the night for sure. We started off things right with 1 and 2 being Johnny Gargano and Seth Rollins. I love that. We definitely need this. I definitely want to see a feud with Seth Rollins and Johnny Gargano down the line, 1-on-1. I think that'd be a phenomenal match. So we started off things right with them two, and it was amazing. Seth Rollins is universally loved. We already know that. It doesn't matter if it's here or if it's in Canada. They love him wherever he goes. And the crowd was super, super into this match the entire night. And Austin Theory, at one point in the match, they were like attacking Austin Theory. They were just like a pack of hyenas just attacking this man. So that was crazy. Man, some of the spots in this match were absolutely insane. My guy Bronson Reed, he had a great showing, and this is his first chamber match and his first big match since coming back. We saw a Doomsday Device into a Poison Rana on Bronson Reed. I thought that was insane. Man,
that was a hell of a spell too, because my God, his neck looked like it. I don't think he meant to land like that.
No.
When I watched it back, his shoulder hit before anything, which still isn't good, but it's better than his neck.
Right, but I don't think he meant to land the way he did.
No, he kind of fell kind of slowly, so I don't think he jumped enough.
Right. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, sorry, Cam.
No, you're good. So then we saw something I don't think I've ever seen in elimination chamber matches. We saw Montez Ford climb to the top of the structure and do what I called a Spider-Man like splash onto everybody.
I said that too.
Match. That was sick. I've never seen that. It was scary too because he's hanging upside down, and I'm thinking like his foot's gonna get caught. He's gonna free fall, hit his head or something like that. That was scary, but it worked out perfectly. Crazy moment right there. That's going to be remembered for years to come, I'm sure.
Can we just talk about how great his look was? Like, he looked like a singles wrestler last night.
Yes, he absolutely.
Like, the way he dressed, the way he was presented, he looked like a bona fide single star.
It felt right.
He definitely looked like he belonged, yes.
Yes, absolutely. And we saw a Hurricane Rana off the top of the pod. We saw Montez hit a blockbuster off the top of the pod. I mean, he was all over the place. He was absolutely a star in this match, for sure. One of the things that Seth Rollins did. I think he did this to Austin Theory. He picked him up, and I thought he was going to buckle bomb him, but he faked him out and got halfway into the corner, and then did a sit out power bomb I was like, yo, that was pretty sick because I thought he was going to buckle bomb, but he did a sit-out power bomb. Overall, I thought this match was amazing. Getting into the finish, because I know this is very controversial, and pro wrestling Twitter and everybody online is in a frenzy about, oh, the ending was stupid, and that's how you ruin a good match. I liked it because once again, it sets up something that I definitely want to see at WrestleMania, and that's Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins. Did you need Logan Paul in this match? Absolutely not. Did it work out? Did the crowd, was the crowd into it? Were they hating Logan Paul? Of course they were. It worked out perfectly. It added to the drama and the high pace, a fast paced action of the match itself. And we're getting, like I said, man, we're getting Logan versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I'm all for it. Take my money because that's going to be a phenomenal match. This man hit at this point the buckshot lariat. That's his move. He hit a clean buckshot
Thank you
lariat.
for saying that.
Then to add insult to injury, he hits a clean curb stomp to Seth Rollins. Icing on the cake, right? Amazing match. I give it a 5 out of 5.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I said it on Discord last night. I said Logan Paul does a better buckshot than Hangman Page. I said what I said.
And he did it.
So before
I was like, that was better than Hangman.
Because Cam just built this up, I'm gonna cut because I know Nate's gonna say something. So let's change the flow up a little bit, so it's not all hype. But I got to give a shout out to our main guy over the pond, Ross, for this comment. Last night's Elimination Chamber was literally black and gold heartbeat right across the board of NXT last night. That was black and gold to a T.
Yeah.
Those men, phenomenal. Every bit of that match, except for the Logan Paul thing. I'm not slandering him, but I wish there was a better ending. I did like. I understand why they did it. I get it. I'm just annoyed by it because it was a great match. The finish was just to me. That's all. I expected the outcome.
I love that you had to say I'm not slandering Logan Paul because you know I'd fucking come out.
Right. The match itself.
Logan Paul slander in here. I will throw hands.
He can't slander him. He's the prime representative.
Listen, the match itself, whether you want to go out of 10 or out of 5, it was a perfect match start to end. To me, that's the match of the night. I understand what's the main event. I do. But to me, that is the card, or that is the match on the card that stole the show. 100%. The spots, great. You had Theory being beaten up by Seth and Gargano inside a pod. Amazing. You had Gargano look like he was going to get powerbombed off the pod, turned into a Hurricanrana. The one scary moment for me in that match, and I'm 100% confident that this was not a work or anything, I am pretty sure Montez had no idea where he was at the end of that match.
He was perfectly
because
fine.
He took that stomp. Okay, he could be perfectly fine. That's fine. But I don't think he knew where he was after that stomp.
Right.
I think he's just that good of an actor that he made you believe that he was like that.
Stole it really well.
Because there is padding there. It's not a grate anymore. They put padding on that on the outside of the cage like 3 or 4 years ago. So
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying because he made last night I thought the same thing. But
either way, Montez
Logan Paul came out, and that's what made me change my mind.
Montez Ford suspended my belief that it was all rigged with the way he acted. All right, is what I'm getting at. He suspended my belief that this was all scripted. This is all how it's going. This is how they practice. This is what they did because
regular level selling.
Right, like, okay, if it is fake or whatever you want to call it, kayfabe, whatever, fine. But it's still real to me, damn it.
Good word choice.
And I don't know. I've said it since I seen it the first time. Logan does the best buckshot lariat I've seen, period. The stomp, I love the extra tidbit just because he's trying to get that rivalry kicked. Pun intended, with Seth. But I didn't think you needed that because the rivalry was already going there. But it just adds to what we're already going to see. I am done. And on to me, like I said, it's a 5 out of 5 on a 5 scale. It's 10 out of 10 on a 10 scale. Nate, you Beaver Cleaver guy, let's go.
This fucking match was storytelling perfection from beginning to fucking end. This match was clearly designed to highlight the future of the WWE. Bronson Reed looked like a fucking wrecking ball. It took 4 people to eliminate him. I'm really upset that he was the first one eliminated, but it still took 4 guys to knock him out.
Those super kicks were clean.
Montez Ford proving that John Morrison just dangling from the cage and falling was not that fucking cool. All right, Montez Ford climbed up in like a spider. He was up there so fast, and then he's just hanging upside down like a fucking bat. And not only does he just fall, he launches himself with his feet. He pushed off that bitch with his feet. He didn't just fall. He gave himself force. So this match was definitely a coming out party for Montez Ford. I said this the other night. I feel like this match was a test for him to see how he does in this spotlight. He knocked it out of the fucking park. Absolutely crushed it into the next city. Like, oh my God. And Seth Rollins was obviously there to be like the veteran guy who's been in this match several times before to help carry the flow of the match. That's kind of what his role was in that match. He was kind of keeping the flow. He was almost always at the center of attention. And he did a great job of it. You know, he took the Hurricane Rana off the pod. You know, he did the sit-out powerbomb that he did. And he's been keeping his feud with Logan Paul going in the background by saying he's not a wrestler. He doesn't love this like we do. That gave Logan Paul perfect reason to come out and cost him that match. And it makes Austin Theory look like an opportunistic, conniving heel. I think it accomplished so many things with Logan Paul coming out there. And I will not tolerate Logan motherfucking Paul slander from anyone ever. I will throw hands at you. And I'm not a violent man. No. If anything we can expect out of this upcoming match between Logan Paul and Seth Rollins, it's that it's going to be a fucking banger. All right? An absolute banger. After banger. Logan Paul has been, literally, he has not had a single match that has not had a memorable moment. And not just that, not just memorable moments. The matches are good matches. Like, the dude, Triple H even said this in his press conference. Logan Paul was born for this. I've been saying that for almost a year now. Logan Paul was born to be a pro wrestler. He's got that over-the-top personality. He's got that ability to switch it up from babyface to heel. He's perfect for it. And people hate him because he didn't pay his dues on the indies, or he didn't come up through the Performance Center. Like, come on. The Miz...
But to that point, though, they can hate him all they want, because, like I said, I can't hate on him because he's coming here and he's put in the work, put in the time and the effort. He's come in, he's respected the business. I can't hate on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Out of all his matches, the only one I don't agree with, he did great in it, and I'm not saying he didn't. That's not what I'm saying here. The only one I didn't agree with is him against Roman. That one was way too fast, in my opinion. But the match itself was a banger. But it was too fast, and his projectile up is what I'm going at.
I think the reason they booked that match is because they didn't really have
more
much
eyes on Saudi.
Yes, definitely, but they didn't really have much for Roman in terms of challengers at that moment in time. And I think it kind of just lined up perfectly where, the Saudi Arabia shows aren't really that important. So, I agree that he shouldn't have been in a world title match that soon, but he did knock it out of the park. So right. I can't complain too much, because we also did that with Cain Velasquez, and he just sucked. So, at least Logan Paul can say he did good. But anyways, Austin Theory winning was the absolute right call. I kind of wanted Bronson Reed to win. I thought Bronson Reed was going to win. I think I predicted that on the pod the last week. But Austin Theory winning is the right call. The dude is the future of the WWE, along with Montez Ford, along with Bronson Reed, guys like that. And just 5 out of 5. This is one of the top 3 Elimination Chamber matches of all time. It's up there with 2002 Survivor Series.
Before Scowls gets into his closing statements on this, I don't think Austin Theory was the planned winner of that match. I think something happened in that match that changed the course of the winner. Because if you paid attention, I'm pretty sure Gargano was set up to win this match just because of a feud with him and Austin would make sense.
Right.
But I think if you pay attention, you watch back, Gargano really didn't do anything after he got tossed off the top of the pod. I think he got a little hurt.
He landed and bumped heads with Damian Priest.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty sure the winner of that match was supposed to be Gargano because the big Canada moment. Gargano's big on these Canada moments. But with that happening the way it did, I think that changed the course for Theory to win.
Theory also fucking killed it in his press conference last night. Holy shit, he was awesome.
No, he didn't. It sucked.
Yeah. No, that's exactly
That
the
was-
kind
and-
of
He was trying
conference.
too hard to be like MJF in a press conference.
Oh, I don't think he was trying to be like MJF.
Like he was
I mean,
trying to be like that type of personality. Like he just like it came off as like a stuck-up, snobby person more than he's ever been, and that's not his character. Like that's not what he's done on TV.
But isn't that what most
But he's
25-year-olds
cocky
are
and
nowadays
arrogant,
anyway?
like MJF, so it's not hard to have them kind of be
That's
similar.
the definition of a 25-year-old nowadays. Austin Theory.
I will also not tolerate slander on Austin Theory, so watch your mouth.
Yeah, well,
Watch your profanity.
he should have been the first one eliminated in this match.
Austin Theory is a legitimate future WrestleMania main eventer.
I'm not saying he's not, but
and
you
he will
don't.
earn. He deserves it.
You don't need the title picture in between him and Cena.
Oh, I agree.
And the
I agree
only
with that.
and what should happen now is Cena should beat him at Mania, and then lose to somebody who debuts on Monday Night Raw, and then puts that person over and pushes them to the moon too.
No, absolutely not.
All right, give us your thoughts on the match, guys.
As Nate walks away.
He had to go get some water.
There's really not much more to say about this match other than what you guys have already said. The spots were great. I loved when Seth and Gargano were working together. They were beating him up, and then they both sat at the top of the pod. And all of a sudden, Seth just looked over and just smacked him. Like,
It was so loud.
and it echoed, like, because it was just, at that moment, everything was really not moving. It was just, like, perfect timing.
Yep.
So I love that spot. Like, the little things that were done. But I know Bronson Reed, it took 4 people to eliminate him. I just don't feel
Kick party.
I don't feel he should have been the first person to get out.
Yeah.
He should have lasted a little bit longer. They could have had, like, Priest doesn't need the belt. He was the only one that I felt really didn't belong in this match.
He also was phenomenal in that match, though.
Oh,
He
he's
kicked awesome.
They all were. Like, everybody showed up. They all showed out. Like, the match was so good. That's my only complaint is the way that they had the eliminations go. 5 out of 5.
think that's
Hands
fair.
down.
So, before we move on to the main event, I want to keep talking about this match itself. If y'all ever needed a visual that Triple H is hands-on and creative, that match right there is gotten Triple H written all over it. It's everything NXT Black and Gold was in a small sample size at the main event, main roster level. And I can't find a flaw other than, like Scouts had said, maybe Elimination Order could have been better, but that match itself was gold, if you will.
I have one thing to throw out there, too, that Kane just mentioned on TikTok. When Johnny and Seth cornered Austin Theory in the pod, that was fucking hilarious.
I said that when
Johnny Gargano was like this, and he just, like, points like that, and Seth is just already in the pod with him. Hilarious.
Yeah, I was saying that when I was talking there about when I was giving my thoughts on it. I thought that was the comedy of the match, but other than that,
Yeah.
gold.
The producers for this match were Jamie Noble and Abyss.
That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
I saw that on
Because
Twitter earlier today.
they're like two of the three best producers. The other one is Tyson Kidd.
Mikey P on Twitch just now. Every member of that match was former XT. Yes, and it's exactly the black and gold roster. That is, I believe Montez is the last super. No, I guess Bronson Reed would be the last superstar of the black and gold brand.
Technically, yeah.
Gargano.
But Bronson was still there when Gargano got cut, and then it went. Anyways, so before we even talk about this main event that was built to the fucking nines, Montreal, through the first 4 matches of the night, beginning to end, absolutely fire, passion, excitement, being involved in the crowd. Just everybody heard it. Sammy, and I'm not going to give too much detail away. I mean, everybody watched it, but Sami Zayn said last night in his press conference, if y'all ever needed to believe that Montreal should host a big main event like WrestleMania, last night shows you why. The passion alone is unmatched almost across the board. And I say almost because you have Philly, New York, Toronto, and Montreal. Those are my 4 north, east, west, however you want to look at it, places that WWE goes to. That's absolutely no piping needed.
So the only thing I could say about that is where would they host it?
Well, that's the thing. They don't have a stadium, unfortunately, to host it. And I think that's what keeps them away from hosting it. Because you can't say that Montreal can't host that event and be successful as fuck.
What about Olympic Stadium?
It's not up to T. That's why they don't use it for the baseball games anymore either. They need to do a massive renovation to it. It's huge, but there needs to be some major modernization to it. It's not really crowd friendly.
They don't have any football stadiums or anything up there, right? That would hold.
They do, but not big enough for Mania.
See, Olympic Stadium is definitely big enough, but it does look like it would need some.
Right. If Canada is to host the WrestleMania, it's 9 out of 10 going to be Vancouver because the Rogers Place or whatever the hell they call it is this big stadium that's like Olympic Stadium that could host it.
I think if they go back to Mania in Canada, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Toronto. That's too big of a market.
We don't have anything, though. We don't legitimately do not have anything to that scale.
You have Skydome.
Because Skydome, no, it wouldn't even touch their number.
No, I know. That's what I was going to say. It only holds roughly about 50K, and you would only gain an extra.
It roughly holds 80, depending how they set it up.
I mean, what BMO, the soccer stadium, that can only hold like 40K.
So
it's funny you say that. I'll be down there next week. It's tiny.
I feel like Rogers Center could work, but
anything short of
it would probably peak at like 60K though.
Anything short of WWE just finding an open field, building the grandstands themselves and a stage and hosting a Mania, we're not hosting anything unless our stadiums are up to capacity.
I've been saying this for years. The Big House.
I'd love to see it there.
The Big House already seats 110,000 people.
Yeah, and if you take out a stage, that brings it down to maybe 100,000. Big number still.
And then floor seating.
Right.
They could probably
you don't even need the stage to be that big. But,
right.
I mean, it's WrestleMania. You need it to be extravagant.
Yeah, but the stage doesn't really block many seats in a football stadium.
Right. So, I mean, right now we got what? We for sure know it's in Cali, and then the following year it's in Philly, and then it's up to wherever next, right?
Right.
Which I wouldn't be shocked if we get WrestleMania 41 in the UK.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's probably the next spot.
At Wembley. Wembley has to be the spot for that. All right. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. It is the main event of the evening. We will let Scowls start this one off, as he has not started a subject tonight.
I was talking to Shadow when the match started, and all I said to him was the word chills. When Sammy's music hit, the crowd eruption, you legit just got chills. And then Sammy, just the way Sammy.
I said, go ahead. Sorry.
No, Shadow sent me a picture with the goosebumps showing
Yeah,
me everything.
my
with the hair
goosebumps. I
raised.
sent them a picture of that.
Just the reactions, like his expressions, you could tell, no matter what happened in that match, how much this meant to him. And
Yeah.
The match, it says that it went 32 minutes for the match. I'm going to say it probably went about 20 because the first 10 minutes they really didn't do much after the bell rang. They stood there and just...
5.5 minutes was nothing.
But
Just
just the spots in this match. Like, yes, you get the typical Roman spots, but the kickouts, the close calls, everything. It just was so... it was so heart-wrenching. Like, you were into it and you were at the edge of your seat the entire time. I don't remember a time when that was the case with a WWE match in recent history. And I was just... I wanted to set my phone up and just record my reaction if he actually won because I was starting to believe he could win. And
I think that was very important on WWE's part, too.
Like, they made you believe he could win. And yes, everybody's going to hate the ending of the match, how everything turned out, all the different things. Where was KO? Why did he take so long? What was going on with Jack? Who cares? The entire match and the storyline of the match led to that, which will lead to something else. Like, this all ties in together. This is the biggest storyline WWE has had for the last in 15
it's not
years,
over.
and it is not over. So people need to stop worrying, like, oh, that was the wrong way to end it. Blah blah blah.
That was the perfect
It
way
is
to end.
not done, and I'm sure that we're going to see something that happens on Friday, possibly tomorrow night, that's going to continue it and make everything make sense. 4.5 out of 5 for me. This match was just so good. The storytelling between the two, Roman is on another level. When he was just sitting in the corner waiting for Sammy to take everything in, Sammy looked over at him. Roman blew him a kiss and then smiled.
Yep.
Like, just those little things. Roman used to get eaten up by everything that was happening last night. Like, that crowd reaction, cursing him out, loud, deafening. That would have shook him in the past. Now, he revels in it.
So, you want to go next, Nate? Go ahead.
Okay. I don't think people really truly understand just how good Roman Reigns is at this point in his career in the last 2.5, 3 years. The dude is on a level that probably has not been reached since Stone Cold. Like,
I can agree.
The second he walks out of that, this even in backstage segments, if he's on camera, he's got the entire crowd in the palm of his hands from the second they see him to the minute he's gone. He has everyone paying attention in the fucking palm of his hands, and he's been doing it so effortlessly. Like, I can't even comprehend the greatness that we're witnessing right now out of Roman Reigns, because it is that great. It is all-time stuff. And you throw this wrench into the storyline like Sami Zayn, who wasn't supposed to be there. And all of a sudden we've got this Daniel Bryan, Shawn Michaels, Kofi Kingston kind of babyface rise. And all of a sudden, this main event last night, I'm sitting there with my buddies watching it, and I'm like, this feels bigger than the Cody Rhodes. This is bigger than Cody Rhodes. This is bigger than whatever's going to happen at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes might be the right guy right now. Sami Zayn is the right guy. Like, they could have had Sami Zayn win last night, and I wouldn't have. It would have been fine. Like, that would have been unbelievable.
If it was just for the WWE Championship, he would have won.
So, like, Sami Zayn is a guy who can. He will win a world title, and I believe he will win one this year. I believe he will win one before this year is over, because that is the only way that this story can continue. Like, Sami Zayn's rise doesn't have to continue with the bloodline the whole time. He can put the bloodline in the past and continue his rise because he's that level of over. You know what I mean? Like, and then this match. Again, as soon as the bell rang, you're like, oh, they're going to go at it. And then, nope, they're just going to stare at each other. I think Roman Reigns was the one who made that call.
Yeah, I don't think that was a part of the rundown of the match. That whole.
No, I think that was Roman Reigns. I think he said, "Hey, soak this in. Let's make them wait for it." I think that was Roman Reigns doing, because he's that level performer. Sami Zayn was probably ready to go. He's like, "Let's fucking do this."
And
Roman Reigns was like, "Chill."
That's why Roman came out first, to let Sami enjoy it.
Yep, absolutely. And so I think that was absolutely Roman Reigns' call to have the crowd just sit there and yell and chant and scream and alternate chants for almost 10 minutes, which Sami Zayn said in his press conference that it was the longest ovation in that building's history that was uninterrupted.
And that says a lot, considering, and I'm going to steal a second away from you here. It says a lot considering the Montreal Canadiens, the hockey team that plays there, their storied franchise, and to have Sami do that is like, I'm going to steal something from Roman, God mode in that building.
Yeah. And so and then the two other wrenches that came in, the ones that, you know, probably expected, but at the same time, Jey Uso has been just as important to this storyline as Sami Zayn has been. Right on par. And he has played his part perfectly. And that crowd was ready to embrace him as the next big babyface. They were ready. They wanted him to hit Roman Reigns. You could see it in their faces. You could see them. They're like, I wanted him to do it, and I thought he was going to, and he just didn't. And then Kevin Owens, the guy that's like, yeah, Sami Zayn has been an absolute dick to me for the last 6 months. I'm going to go help him out, but I'm not happy about it. So, yeah, they didn't make everything all close and finalize all at once like everyone was expecting. We don't know if Kevin Owens is going to be partners with Sami Zayn at all. All that we saw last night is he was out there to prevent the same thing from happening to Sami that happened to him at Royal Rumble. That's it. He said no words to Sami Zayn. This was everything that we love about pro wrestling. This main event was everything that makes us feel like little kids when we're watching pro wrestling. This was a 5-star match beginning to end. And it's an all-timer.
All right. Cam, you're up next.
So, hey, Scowls and Nate pretty much said a lot of what I was going to say. But from start to finish, this match was fantastic. The second that Sami Zayn's music hit, the entire arena goes freaking insane. The bell sounds. Roman, Sami on opposite ends of the ring. Didn't even lock up yet, and the crowd is going. They're losing their minds, and that is a moment right there that 10, 20 years from now, they're gonna look back at that match and go, "This whole storyline was something special. It was something to say, man, I'm proud to be a wrestling fan. I'm proud that I was alive to see this happen when it was new and fresh. 20 years from now, that's what they're going to be saying. Even now, right now, it's amazing.
It's going to be called the Bloodline Era.
Even Austin McMahon didn't have this level of emotion. Not even close.
No, it didn't. It's amazing. It honestly is, and of course, Scouts, I'm glad you brought up the people kind of complaining and whining and crying. it's I don't get it, man. I don't get people like this is always my gripe about wrestling fans. Like I just
So,
think they only remember the very small, very microscopic details, and they'll hang on to that and then be like, "Oh, well, I didn't like how that ended," and "Oh man, that was." I mean, I saw everything. Oh, that was a dumb
some
ending, and tired of Roman. He's boring and things like that. It's like, are you serious? Like you're missing the bigger picture here. The
the whole
storytelling we saw in this ring was grade A, and all you're hanging on to is the ending. Really?
in
Really?
response to
Like,
that, everybody wants something now. They don't want to wait for it. Everybody
exactly.
says that WWE doesn't do these long-term story bookings, but when they do, they want the answers right away. Like, it's just you can't have it both ways. If you want
You can't.
WWE to do long-term stories, then enjoy them when they do them.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
complain about it trying to get to the end as quick as possible. Because all you're going
Right.
to do is ruin everything in between. And if you did that with this storyline, there would have been so much missed, and we would have not seen all the greatness that we have.
Exactly.
If I could make a comparison too, does anyone remember the TV show Lost?
Yep.
Every single episode, when that show was done, the episode was over, you had so many more questions than you did going into that episode.
You only
And what
started
does it
getting
make you
answers
do?
in season 7.
And what does it make you do? It makes you tune in the next week because you need to know what happens. You want to see how this goes. It can't all happen at once. That's rushed storytelling. That's Vince McMahon bullshit, where he just wants to book moments and not fluid, interweaving storylines. Ignore my hand signals. um, that's how I kind of
Under those.
that's kind of how I compare it. Like it's like a TV series that you can't wait to see the next episode because whatever's happening right now has left you on a cliffhanger, and you can't wait. But Cam, continue.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's just that's just what frustrates me a lot of times. They're missing the bigger picture here. They're missing some phenomenal storytelling in this whole bloodline era, as Scouts put it. And it's sad. It's very sad. Everything from Roman, everything that he did in this match was nothing short of perfection. He's literally got Sammy in the corner, and then he's talking trash to his wife sitting ringside. Like it was perfection. Like it's those little things that Roman does and he puts into these matches that you look at and you'll just go, that's why he's the guy right now. That's why him being in the position that he's in, he's knocking it out of the park. They have set him up for success, and he has not dropped the ball once.
The
So-
trash talking to Sammy's wife.
Oh,
Yeah,
That was the first public appearance ever, by the
Yeah.
way.
Khadija. Khadija or Khadija?
did you see
Something
the
like that.
point where she was holding Sammy down as Roman was beating him up?
yeah.
I thought that
Yeah.
was like that was pretty interesting.
So
What's your
I
rating?
give-
That's what I was asking.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I give this match a 5 out of 5. This was a great match, and like I said, Roman just continues to be that guy. Sammy, unfortunately, did not get the job done. I know a lot of people were behind Sammy, but I don't think he's that guy right now. Does he deserve a world title run eventually? Yes, I do believe that. But right now, I don't think you strap a rocket to his back right now and give him both titles right now. I just don't think it's not the way Sammy's story ends. Right now, I think there's an even bigger story to be told with him reuniting with Kevin Owens. So
The ultimate goal of Sami Zayn right now is to take down the bloodline. Kevin Owens and him can
Right.
do that by beating the Usos at WrestleMania, if that's what happens. And
Right.
Cody Rhodes, I think this is what I said this the other night. Sami Zayn should come out on Raw tomorrow night, talk to Cody Rhodes, and cut another promo with him and say, hey, I couldn't get it done. Go fucking get it done. Take him down.
Right.
And when you're done, I'm going to challenge you. I think that's perfect. It's perfect storytelling there. Maybe he doesn't even need to challenge Cody. He can challenge him later in the year when him and Kevin drop the tag titles. Like, whatever. But I think he needs to do that. I think he needs to have that moment so that way... I mean, the crowd's still behind Cody, so we haven't had that issue.
Right.
But the ultimate goal is taking down the bloodline, and that's what's going on, and that story's not finished. There's a lot more to be told, and I can't fucking wait.
So, we're going to end this pod the way the WWE ended the presser last night with a Canadian.
Oh,
Now.
God, damn it.
So, last night, I've told you guys in the past, and you all three of you know this. Well, my wife is a wrestling fan. She's a very casual fan. Very, 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 very casual fan. She was hooked from beginning to end of that match. And she was texting me, because she's not home right now, she's away. She was texting me out throughout that match. And she's like, "Oh my God, this like I'm like you have to slow down because you're a little bit ahead of me." Because again, I'm watching stream, she's watching cable, and she was hooked. She knew the ending. Obviously, she listens to our show and she listens to how I speak about what's going on. So it was very predictable for the outcome, obviously. But for a brief moment in time, I think all four of us were very convinced that Sami was going to win last night.
Mm-hmm.
Brief. And that is what storytelling is all about. Roman kicked out at 2.9. 2.9 Roman kicked out last night. If that doesn't tell you the level of trust between Sami and Roman in that match, I don't know what else does. The opening 10 minutes with the Olays and all that and fuck you, Roman, and oh my God. Before I continue indulging in this match, to reference what Nate was saying, I put this match on WrestleMania 17 Rock Austin level because of that passion alone. This match. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna butt in
just got chills
so that you can actually finish with the Canadian. I'm just gonna say that. Oh shit! What was I gonna say? Fuck. Cam, go ahead.
Full system. It's great.
You were talking. Okay.
That match by no means was a technical slobber knocker by any means. It told a story without being a wrestling match per se. You had the elements of Sami's family. Go ahead.
I remembered. Sorry, I remembered what I was gonna say. That whole 10 minutes at the beginning of the match. I think you said something earlier, and I thought it was a very good point. That Roman Reigns years ago would have folded with a crowd like that, with a reaction like that.
That was me.
I think Scout. Sorry, I think the thing that did it, that helped get him past that, was that night after he beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. He had 5 words to say. And it took him 10 minutes to get there because the crowd was so visceral towards him. And I think that was a huge part in letting him understand how much the crowd actually plays into it. And boos are not a bad thing. But
whether you're a Sami fan, you're a Roman fan, I don't care what side you come from. I know Haley's in the chat, Roman who, but you have to appreciate what these two men did last night. Not counting in Jay, Jimmy, Kevin, leaving them out of this at the moment. Those two men showed a story that many people have a hard time doing alone in the wrestling business. We all understand that Sami Zayn does not maybe potentially belong there in that main event picture. Realistically, it makes almost no sense for Sami to be there. Storyline built him there. Put him there. And the crowd is just, wow. right?
Yeah.
And obviously, being in Montreal, it's a lot more love than he would normally get in other arenas. And Sammy mentioned this in his press conference last night. This storyline with Roman, he was already involved in the Bloodline story, with Roman kicked off in August in Montreal because the Usos couldn't be there. So to start Sammy Roman story in Montreal that many months ago and to captivate it last night in Montreal, wow. It's just, wow. I regret not going. I should have gone. Obviously, life happened. But storytelling-wise, that match, phenomenal. 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Storytelling. Wrestling, I'd give it a solid 3. Again, it didn't look as technical as it looked. You're not really paying attention to their wrestling as much as you're paying to the story they're telling. The fact that Jimmy came down and Sammy ate, 4 super kicks back to back to back to back and still kicked out? That right there was like, oh my God, he's going to do it.
And you get like 4 super kicks and a super fly splash.
Right. And then Jay coming out of, I don't know where the fuck Jay came from, and just standing there conflicted on what to do. One side you have blood. Another side you have a man that absolutely stood in the way of everything for you. That allegiance. I'm sure something's going to play into him being speared by Sammy. Great. And everyone's like, oh, why did Kevin take so long to come down? My daughter's godfather ran into Kevin Owens at a very small poutineery in Quebec the other night. And he said to Kevin, obviously wrestlers aren't going to tell you shit anyways. But he said to Kevin, are you going to be at Elimination Chamber? All Kevin said to him was, this weekend isn't about me. So what I think is, obviously, like Nate said, Kevin wanted to let Sammy have his moment, but not get beat the shit out of like he did. I love the pop-up powerbomb to Jimmy.
Yep.
I had to think about that. To Jimmy on the outside through the table. Perfect.
Yeah. Jay ate that spear and he was done. I think that was
he disappeared. We didn't see him again.
To get involved.
Right. And the no talking between Sammy and Kevin was just, it was gold because it told the story within, it didn't need to be said. You knew it was happening. Take the reality of wrestling out of it for a second. Kevin Owens wanted his best friend to soak in where he's already been. He's been to that peak of what that crowd is acting like. He knows what it's like. He wanted Sammy to enjoy that. And that's why he got out of the ring right away. I think that was more of a respect thing to Sammy than furthering the storyline. But we read it as furthering the storyline. But I think it was more of a mutual respect.
Right.
And was Sammy ever the guy to dethrone Roman? Absolutely not. And as much as we all want it to be, it's just not the right time nor the story to tell. Yes, story you would think makes sense for us. In the world of wrestling, it's not the right time. With that said, those are my thoughts on that match.
So
I'm giving that match altogether a 9 out of 10 and 5 out of 5.
Just to piggyback off of that, I think the bigger storyline is Sammy and Jay. And that still has yet to be told.
I think, Jay, if we do get this tag team match at WrestleMania, which all signs are pointing to it, I think Jay does team with Jimmy, but I think he does so very reluctantly. Because
does he do that reverse turn?
What's that?
Does he do the reverse turn where he starts the match with Jimmy and ends the match with Sammy?
I don't think so. I don't think that happens in that match. I think we get the fallout from it later on SmackDown or Raw. Okay. I honestly think that a tag match between Kevin and Sammy and the Usos should main event night 1.
Agreed.
Okay.
I firmly believe that that's how that should go. No disrespect to Rhea and Charlotte, they're gonna put on a great fucking match. No disrespect to Bianca and Asuka, they're gonna put on a great fucking match. The storyline fits the same way the storyline did with Becky and Ronda 4 years ago. This is this is it. Like, this is how this should go. This WrestleMania is all about the downfall of the bloodline. And every other story, despite how great these stories are being told right now, they're taking a back seat to it. And that's not a bad thing. Not necessarily a back seat, more like a side seat.
Let's have a little sidebar conversation. But first, Scouts, rating of the Elimination Chamber.
Overall rating, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Nate.
The entire pay-per-view, I'd say 9 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 is because of that bad match between Brock and Bobby.
Right.
Obviously, not all the matches are 5 stars, but that doesn't mean they don't all have to be for a 10, a perfect pay-per-view. Like,
right.
But that match does hold it back a little bit.
Cam, your rating overall? Out of 10.
I definitely enjoyed this premium live event. I enjoyed it much, much more than the Royal Rumble, the one previous. I'll say this was an 8.3 out of 10.
For me personally, I said it on Twitter last night. I give it an 8 out of 10. The reason for that, like Nate said, remember, I'm a Brock guy, but that Brock match really held that pay-per-view back from being a 10 out of 10, in my opinion. And Sami Zayn is a megastar after last night. I don't care what anybody says. He's a megastar now. Like, the sky's the limit for him now. And with that, let's have some sidebar discussions. I don't think Cody Rhodes wins at Mania.
I think the only way he wins is if they split the belts.
Let's ignore this all for a second. No splitting the belts, nothing like that. This whole thing with the bloodline started with Jay, and it needs to end with Jay. And that's the story they're telling within the story right now.
So, I agree that that's how this story should go. If not for the presence of Cody Rhodes, I think there's a little bit of a problem there, because I think they made these promises to Cody Rhodes when they re-signed him without knowing how big this Sami Zayn and Jey Uso thing was going to get.
Keep in mind, there's nothing saying Cody can't win at SummerSlam.
But so that just means Jay is going to win it at some B-level pay-per-view. And I don't think that's a fitting conclusion. Maybe he wins Money in the Bank and cashes in at Money in the Bank. I'd be okay with that.
All I'm saying is, like, again, this is a whole sidebar. We all have different opinions on this. But to me, it started with Jay, the bloodline angle. Obviously, the whole thing with Roman started with fucking Bray. Because, and I'll point that out, Bray tweeted out last night, because they tweeted, or
Today.
It might have been today, earlier today.
Yep.
They tweeted out a list of Roman's opponents. And Bray goes, well, how'd that start?
It's literally Hall of Fame talent, top to bottom.
Like, so for me, I still say, because of the bloodline angle, it started with Jay, it needs to end with Jay. That's just fantasy living. That's not what's going to happen.
But
we all know that.
But it can.
But it should and can, in my opinion.
It still
But
can.
I'm not creative.
All they need to do is make Cody go for the WWE Championship, which is the one that matters to him, because that's the one with Dusty. He wins that, and then Roman holds on to the Universal title and loses to Jay at SummerSlam after he breaks 1,000-day, and Jay is the one to end the streak for that title.
Before SummerSlam, so it can be Nick Nate's and Money in the Bank.
I still think Vince put this whole fucking company in a corner by unifying the belts in the first place.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know a way you can tell a story to get these one belt off. You can't. It's
The
so
only thing I can
stupid.
think of is Cody Rhodes wins them and then vacates the Universal title. And gives it-
That's what I was just gonna say. I think that's the only way
thing
you
that
can
makes sense
do
to me.
that. Because Cody says, "I don't need
Cody
two.
gets
I came
stripped.
for one." Because
What were we saying, Kim?
every time we look, go ahead, Ken.
No, I was just saying it's either that or he gets stripped of one of those belts. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's a booking nightmare, realistically.
It is.
Hey, it's so hard.
I mean, like
But
I
this
said,
is why we
with
have
the draft coming up, Raw needs their title back. So
Well,
they're gonna have to do something.
the other way to do it would be to just introduce a new title on Raw and then make that one belt.
Right, and
No,
so I keep seeing the same
they don't
comment
need
too.
more belts.
I keep seeing this one comment too. Have Roman defend one belt on night one and the other on night two. Absolutely not.
You
Absolutely
can't do
not.
that to everybody
Overkill.
else. You just can't.
Overkill.
Because Roman would have to be main event of both. You can't do
Right.
that.
I again, there
So you
put the company in
could do it. You don't need to do it.
All right. So if everybody will indulge me for a minute, I want to open the floor up to either TikTok that Nate's on, or our comment section. We'll give you guys. What time is it now? It's 10:49. You have 3 minutes to submit some questions that we'll answer, and then we're gonna do our typical sign off because there's some stuff that coming up into topic that needs to be discussed later on that we shouldn't be doing right now. So we'll give you guys 3 minutes to have some input on this conversation.
TikTok stream. If you guys have anything, throw it in there. Any questions regarding, I guess, the Bloodline story in general, or all of Elimination Chamber?
Anything.
Anything. Any questions you want us to answer?
In the Twitch chat before Shadow asked this, Jamie said Sammy's winning Money in the Bank and then cashing in on Jay. I don't hate it.
I could see Sami Zayn winning the Money in the Bank this year. I could. I've heard a million people say, like, LA Knight. I don't think LA Knight will be at that level then.
I think they want to go with somebody younger, though.
LA Knight is 40.
I know, it's what I was going to say. LA Knight's almost 40.
Exactly.
Like,
I love LA Knight. I'm a huge fucking fan of LA Knight. But I don't think that's where he fits in right now.
so it's going to be tough to pick out who we think should be at now because there is still 5 months until that, and we still have to get through Mania. But I'm curious to see who they are actually putting into that match. And
Right.
no, Haley, Dominic Mysterio should not win the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Dominic should not ever win another title ever.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, Dominic does it.
He's a good heel. He's not. I mean, I can't say he's a great heel. He's not a great heel. He's a good heel. He's good at egging the crowd on. I will say that.
He's getting the right kind of heat right now. I'll give him that.
He's pretty much had
That's
heat
as much
since he
as I'll
turned
give.
down Rey Mysterio, and that is because Rey Mysterio is one of the biggest baby faces in the history of the company.
That's fair.
I don't know. I think he's getting pushed in the right direction, but I guess what I really want to see from him is have him get his own identity, essentially, like get his own thing.
So,
Because
okay,
right now it's just like,
who do you think should be in the WWE Hall of Fame this year? I mean, besides the obvious Batista, because
Jazz.
they already said once, and then he had
That actually
No, you're
surprises me though. Usually by now we have an inclination of a headliner.
Right,
Right.
they haven't made any announcements, so I'm kind of expecting it to start probably tomorrow night because Elimination Chamber or the match that's after Royal Rumble normally is not until March.
So
So
I'll throw a name out there, and I think this is a guy. Shadow, you might know who I'm talking about. This is a guy who I believe is the most underutilized superstar that WWE ever had. He should have been a world champion. He was not a world champion. And now he works with the company again after leaving AEW. William fucking Regal needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
I 100% agree. Not a headliner, unfortunately.
Not a
because
headliner,
obviously
but
that's
he's in it.
But I think that, and as Haley just pointed out, and I think with the year with the bloodline being so big, Umaga needs to go in.
He had a pretty good monster run, and there are people who accomplished less that are in there, so I could see that.
Right. I don't know who you can really put in the hall because it's so hard, right?
It's Black History Month. Put Jazz in there. It's time.
I thought she was in there.
Time.
Who?
No, she's not.
Oh, Jazz.
Jazz.
Hear me out. Considering the run she's on right now, maybe Mickie James.
She will be eventually. If she's not in it this year, she will be eventually.
China is in the Hall of Fame, but with DX.
Right.
Yeah, and Rey Mysterio's not eligible for it yet because he's still active. The only reason Edge is in
Not
there
true.
and active.
Weirdly enough, Psycho Sid's not in the hall, is he?
No, but I think a lot of his outside the wrestling antics stopped that.
Yeah, that's true. He's, I mean, a 4-time world champion. I don't know if he's in it or not. I don't think he is.
So what were you saying, Shadow?
I can see it's not true because technically Ric Flair was still active when he went in the first time. So if they announce Rey Mysterio as going into the Hall, you know that WrestleMania is his final match.
Right.
He went into the hall with the Four Horsemen while he was still active because of...
No, that
he
was
went
he went in single.
for his retirement match against Shawn Michaels.
That was a
Oh, well,
single that he
they
went
already
in
announced
by
his-
himself.
They already announced that he was retiring. Like,
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If they announce Ray, then you know
They
Mania.
said if he lost, he'd have to retire.
which everybody knew he was losing.
But my point is, you were wrong by saying no because he's still active.
Another name I'll throw out there, Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, I think he could go.
If
I think
anyone's in the Hall of Fame, Eric Bischoff should be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, I think he deserves that. Scarlett sent in a chat here. Kofi Kingston, I believe he will go in. Not yet, but I believe he'll go in. I think all of New Day will, just simply for what they've done as a faction.
Bam Bam
They
Bigelow.
took the worst gimmick possible and still managed to become one of the most over superstars in WWE. John Cena, I mean, maybe another 2 more years, then we see him there.
I think he has to formally announce his retirement, though.
At least within the company walls,
Right.
for them to consider that.
So, and that's exactly the reason The Rock isn't in it yet, is because he has not actually formally retired from active competition.
And that's why
I
we
would
still
go
get
as
the
far as
rumors.
saying, yeah,
Right.
don't
So
want to say it because everybody's going to shit on me for this, but Vince McMahon,
he'll be in eventually. I don't think it'll be this year. I think he's got shit to blow over still. But
Once they
blow
sell
over.
the company.
this year, William Regal absolutely should go in 100%. That is my pick. He doesn't need to be the headliner. He's not a headlining type. Kane is in the Hall of Fame, Mikey. Yeah,
Bro,
I think
Luna Vachon, bro. Like,
pretty sure she's in, isn't she?
she's in.
Yeah, but she's in like some sideway. It's just
Sometimes that's how you get in. All right, let's have some fun with this. No more wrestling Hall of Fame. Who goes in as a celebrity this year? I'll start. Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper?
I think
Is she
that's-
not in it?
Just because of the way that the Young Rock has gone and Becky playing her part and stuff like that, I feel like she's the celebrity this year.
Yeah, I think that's like a shoe-in for this year.
Yeah.
Not Maria Menounos? Menounos?
But yeah, so this weekend has just been amazing wrestling. I'm sure everybody like. Typically, we don't really have all these high hopes, but this blew out my expectations of what an Elimination Chamber could be. The match itself, the Elimination Chamber itself, the matches other than Brock Bobby, just perfection right across the board. This Thursday, I think there's a special episode of Off the Top happening of some sort. I don't remember the name. What about you, Nate? Do you remember what it is?
What?
Do you remember what this Thursday is? There's a special episode this week. I don't remember what we're doing.
Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Eddie Guerrero will be this Thursday's career retrospective. I'm sure that'll be a long show.
Yes. I need to get an outline.
That being said, Gals' Discord is showing up on that.
It was there for 3 seconds. I realized it and flipped it back.
With that, Cam, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on TikTok trying to hit 4,000 followers at Cam's Wrestling Corner. And if that doesn't make your bacon sizzle, you can also find me on my other page outside of wrestling at Call Me Cam G. And you can find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon, Eggs, and Cam.
Bacon sizzle. Okay.
You had to throw that in there before we even got to it. Just because you know how much it gets me and Nate.
Gals, where can we find you, brother?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Off the Top Media. We have our Twitter account, Off the Top Media _, and then on TikTok, Off the Top Media, and Off the Top Pod on TikTok, and myself, Scouse24.
And Nate, where can we find you, brother?
One of these days, I'm gonna make a breakfast of scrambled eggs and bacon, and just have a picture of Cam next to my plate, and I'm gonna send it to you all. Bacon, eggs, and Cam. Let's go. Okay. You can find me on TikTok at Nate McNamara WB or at the Wrestle Bros. And if that doesn't sizzle your bacon, you can. If that doesn't flap your jack, you can go to.
God damn it! Come on now, let's go.
You can find me on Instagram at McNamara Nate, and I have a link tree in both bios. Go ham.
Fuck's sake. Anyways, guys, you can always find me on Twitter at That Guy's Shadow 91. I'm on TikTok, That Guy's Shadow _91. My backup account is the Shadow Realm, something like that. You'll see me there, anyways. Thank you for coming out to Elimination Chamber review show reactions. Great discussion tonight by the panel. You can catch us in about 5.5 weeks when we tackle what is arguably going to be a stacked 2-day WrestleMania card. So thank you all for coming out tonight. We appreciate the love, the support, and don't sizzle your bacon too much, I guess.
Have a great evening, guys. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Flapjack.
God damn it!
Oh, man.